welcome, or welcome back. Hi, this is the Nubian Review where we talk about books and all bookish content. Today I'm coming to you with my 2025 rollover list. Now, I know you're probably asking me, what is a rollover list? Yeah, what is a rollover list? Well, a rollover list of my TBR are just books that I didn't get to from the previous year that were on my 2025 challenge. Why am I doing this? I'm kind of like answering my own questions just in case. I'm just throwing it out there. So I try to really focus on books that I know that I want to read, and sometimes I don't get to them, even though I want to get to them because I am just a moody reader. Like, I will have a TBR and read nothing on that TBR, but I will read a slew of other books that has nothing to do with my TBR. And so I am challenging myself to go back and finish the 25 of 2025. Now, last year I finished, out of 25 books, I finished 13 on that list. And so this year, I want to kind of chop off that list. I don't think that I will get to all 25, but going through that list of books that I did not finish in that list, these are the books that kind of stood out to me. And I was going to implement other books from other challenges that I had, but I really had to think about it because there are books. I'm going to finish the 26, but I also do have other challenges that I am really focused on, and these challenges are part of my lifelong learning. So I didn't want to overwhelm myself by putting too much on my plate because I'm only human. And to be honest with you, as much as I love reading, I have other things that I love engaging in. I love doing DIY projects. I love doing gardening. I love doing outdoor things. So I will be kidding myself if I say that I'm going to have a book and I'm reading a book everywhere I go. I am being actually, I'm being a little bit more intentional. And that is my word of the year. And so initially, when I recorded the first video, I had stacks of books from other challenges that I embarked on from the previous year in 2025. And then I realized, you're not going to read all those books. This is what I'm saying to myself. Because I know within this small time I have in 2025, I do want to read other books that are available, that will be available this year. And then also, you always want to leave the room, the door open, for other things that you may want to read that you don't read, like other genres. I am not a big, how can I say, this is a new category, a romanticy. But I saw a couple of them from other fellow YouTubers when they were talking about it. I said, well, that may be something I may try. So I'm kind of leaving that open because I do want to finish the books that I have here, but then I also want to leave it open for recommendations from you guys. And with that, let me start this list because I tend to ramble on. Okay, so the first one is Lights Out in Lincolnwood. I actually started this book, as you can see. Yeah, I started it. This is pretty good. This is a mystery. So, I think that I will be finishing this book. This is Lights Out in Lincolnwood, Jeff Rodke. And so let me give you a snippet of what they're talking about. Well, it's a story about modern life, problem drinking, and the thorny ethical question of how bad things have to get before the loot of a local Whole Foods. Now, this, and the reason why I pulled this book right here, it reminds me of similar situations that we are on the brink of dealing with right now in our United States. And so I thought this was very timely. It's kind of like I wouldn't say dystopian end of the world, but it is a what if scenario book mystery, high thriller, and I think that it's time for me to just really buckle down and just keep this on my list. I did start it. Um, I think I got like maybe up to page 27. Let me see. Up to page 25 because I left a mark right there. So I want to get back to this book and read it. Next one. This was actually my book to movie selection and I never got to it. And so this is also a book I did start in 2025, but I didn't DNF it. It was towards the end of the year and I just did not want to force myself to try to finish in that timeline, but I did love the story. It is called A Beautiful Mind, Sylvia Nassar. Now, there's a book based on this movie. Actually, did I tell you? Yeah, based off a motion picture. And so I will be reading this book definitely because I've never seen A Beautiful Mind, but from what I looked at the, what's that, Rotten Tomatoes, it had pretty good scores. So this book is about a young man who is a mathematician, but he's also schizophrenic. And so it tells his story. I'm just interested in reading this, really learning about the mental health conditions, especially schizophrenia, because there's different types of schizophrenia. And so this will just be an interesting read. The next one is a book that I've had for a while, and I did wanted to read it, but I was saying to myself, I probably want to annotate. And when I start heavily annotating books, it takes me longer because I tend to go down a rabbit hole. Like, it is not just a straight read and underline this and quote that. It's definitely a deep rabbit hole. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed, but I'm going to pull the book anyway. How the Word is Passed, Clint Smith. The Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America. I love reading about history in general of the United States. Also like fact checking and doing other, doing other historical reads. So I will be putting this to, I definitely think that it is time for this, and I think I would definitely get to this one this year. The next one is The Challenge Culture, Why Most Successful Organizations Run on Pushback. Nigel Travis. This is the story of Dunkin' Donuts and how they made their comeback. And so I love a good motivational read. I love a good inspirational read. I wouldn't say every month. I always try to keep a motivational read on my reading list. Currently, I am reading The Circle of Fire. It's a short book, but I think I may pull this next if I remember to pull it. So, yeah, I think that this is interesting. You could just look at the jacket on the book and tell that this is the story of Dunkin' Donuts, right? Yeah. Oh, I used to be such a big Dunkin' Donuts fan, you guys. When I was in school, I would go to the Dunkin' Donuts and they would see me coming and they would just make the same thing. I would get it every single time, which is so funny. Those were the days when I could just eat anything and not gain a pound. I wouldn't dare try that now. Last but not least, you guys, A Fistful of Shells, West Africa from the Rise of the Slave Trade to the Age of Revolution, Toby Green. This book has been on my list for a long time, and I've been wanting to read this for a long time. I'm hoping to get to this book this year, and I think this is definitely going to be one of those reads that I will have to heavily annotate. If I can remember, I may do what they call an immersive read on this one. I don't know how heavily I'm going to annotate, but every time I get a history book, you guys, I'm writing all up in it. So in the margins, asking questions, looking at timelines, checking out facts. I love going to the back of the book, looking at the index and the resources that they have, like they got a list of illustrations, the notes. I like looking at that type of stuff and checking out the facts of where a lot of our authors get their information from. So I definitely look forward to reading that. So in saying that, that is my short list. And as you can see, the books that I have and the books that I chose to pull and the topics that I'm reading about, you can see why my rollover list would not be that large. Because I already have two books on my rollover list that I'm actively reading. One is Delicate Condition, and the second one is The Barn. And so once I finish those two, I will be pulling from this list I have right here, and then I'm going to go from there. And so I will always update you guys on my rollover list, my TBR rollover list. And so if this is something that sounds interesting or something that you would consider doing to finish out some of your challenges, let me know. I only did this because I've had these books and I'm always saying that I will finish them. And I know sometimes we say that it doesn't matter, I'm reading for enjoyment. But not only do I read for enjoyment, I also read for learning. So, and for me, not for anybody else, for me, when I set a goal to read something and for learning sakes, I do like to put a timeline on it because there's so many books I would like to cover in this short iteration of my life. And so, yeah, I want to get to them as soon as possible. So, until then, I will see you in my next video, fam. Have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Bye bye.